Hi everybody. Hi everyone. This is Dushyant and welcome to this Facebook Live where I will take you through the temple towns of Pushkar, Vrindavan and Mathura. And so we begin with our journey from this beautiful temple town of uh, Pushkar. And Pushkar is very close to my heart because I was brought up in nearby Ajmer and we used to go very often to this temple town of Pushkar, which is very close to Ajmer, about 30 kilometers from there. And it's a lovely, picturesque, green, verdant city which is nestled in the middle of green Aravali hills and between these Aravali hills is this lovely Pushkar lake, and the entire town is situated around the Pushkar lake. And the town is famous the world over for having one of the earliest and for the longest time it had the only Brahma temple in the world. And um, right from childhood, when we were in school, we used to be taken to our annual picnics to Pushkar, and from there, my attachment to the city began. And I'm so glad that I'm able to walk you through the streets and alleys and temples of this famed city. So here we go. We'll start our journey from the world famous Brahma temple at Pushkar. So that my friends is the famous Brahma temple at Pushkar, and uh, it has this unmistakable vermilion colored roof. I mean, the entire color is beautiful saffron color, and the pillars are blue in color. And so it is said that Brahma ji. So through his so the name Pushkar came in such a way that Pushp, which is flower, because lotus flower is symbolic of Brahma ji. So Pushp and Kar in Sanskrit means hand. So the when the lotus petals from the hands of Lord Brahma fell and they fell on earth, they fell here. So Pushkar derives its name from there. Uh, so this is how it looks like. And uh, uh, this is a very famous. This is how the Sanctum Sanctorum, the four-headed Brahma, is very much visible over here. This is the main deity of the Brahma temple, and it is beautiful. And just to take you back a little bit in history, it was Adi Shankaracharya in the 8th century who consecrated this statue and placed it here. And ever since that time, it's one of the holiest places for the Hindus. And every year on Kartik Purnima, there's a big mela, there's a big cattle fair. It's a huge, it's called the Pushkar Cattle and Camel Fair, and it happens in the November month. And lakhs of people take a holy dip in the nearby Pushkar Sarovar, the pond, the lake over there, which is considered a very auspicious occasion. And so that lake is adjoining this temple. Yeah, that is another view of this beautiful temple. And so it is very interesting that the legend has it that Brahmaji was estranged from his wife Savitri. So Savitri cursed him that nobody is going to worship you ever because you have betrayed me. And she got annoyed and she went and sat on the nearby hill. We are going to see that hill. On top of that hill is the famous Savitri temple. And that's why it is said that Brahma is not very much revered across the world because of that curse of his wife Savitri. Yeah, so let's get along. Okay, and this is what the famous Sarovar, the Pushkar Sarovar looks like, and there are ghats all over that. So on the left hand side is the biggest of the ghats, which is called the Gau Ghat, or the bathing ghat of the cows. as the name suggests. And this picture I had taken from the Brahma Savitri Ghat, which is on this side near the temple. And it's a very scenic spot. It is surrounded by beautiful verdant hills, and it's quite lovely. Yeah, and this is that vermilion colored temple from the back side. This is how the temple looks like from behind. And so I was doing the parikrama. So that's so just like a circumambulation of the temple, and I thought that I should click this. That's another view from the front of this famed temple. Yeah, and this is how. So this temple is it's quite high from the street level. It's set at a high plinth, and all these around 50 odd stairs you to climb to reach the entrance of this temple. And this is how it looks like from outside. This is the facade of the entrance. So as I was saying, I wanted you to come with me along on this journey by checking out the thoroughfare and the market and the Havelis, the neighboring areas. So this is how the neighboring areas of this temple look like. And there you can see that typical cows loitering about. And this is what the Savitri, this is the Brahma Savitri Ghat. This is how it looks like. Uh, so there are ghats all along for the people to take bath and all. So now we will go to the second stop of our journey. This is the famous Ranganath temple in Pushkar, and as the name suggests, Ranganath Swami is nothing but another name for Vishnu, and here he is revered as his Krishna avatar. So this is a very unique temple right in the heart of North India. In Pushkar, we have this beautiful temple which has very strong resonance and echoes of Dravidian architecture, the architecture of the south. And we have beautiful towering gopurams, and it is beautiful amalgamation of the two styles. Just have a look. Yeah. So that is the main gopuram of the Rangji temple over here in Pushkar. Hardly anyone would believe that such a temple would exist. This is normally associated with South Indian temples from Madurai, Tanjore, and other places. But this is where it is, and it is beautiful. And you can see through the main entrance there is that dhwaj, that golden dhwaj. You can see right through the entrance gate. We are going to see that in a while. Yeah. So this is how the temple looks like. The Rangji temple looks like from the inside. So these are the corridors where one could check out the black and white marble flooring and heavily embellished walls and pillars of the temple. So this is the Rangji temple for you, and that is another view of the Rangji temple from the entrance. So it's a beautiful view where the gopuram is sort of uh, nicely shown in the middle of the doorway. And these are the beautiful paintings and frescoes on the walls of the temple where the Krishna Leela is happening on the top, and the deity of Vishnu is there. So, and this is how the deity looks like. So that's how the temple deity of Ranganath Swami looks like. So it's quite beautiful. Now we will now proceed uh, to have a look at few things over here that this place is well known for. I wanted to show you the temple of Saras. Yeah, this is that Savitri temple where it is said that Savitri cursed Brahma and she went and sat on top of this temple in a huge sulk. So we have this beautiful Savitri temple nestled on top of this nearby hill, a little away from the Brahma temple, and you can see the beautiful Sarovar in the middle, the Pushkar Sarovar, the lake. And as I was saying, Pushkar is well known for its cattle fair and the world famous camel fair as well. And I wanted you to see a few glimpses of that. So this is how the camels are decorated, and they are paraded, and in fact lots of cattle are bought and sold, not just camels, in fact cows, buffaloes, horses, and all sorts of livestock are traded in this one of the biggest fairs in the world. And so here the camel is dressed in all the finery, and in local language it is called gorband. So gorband is this decoration done on the camel. Yeah, so this is how the Pushkar city looks like in the middle of the camel and the cattle fair. All sorts of assortment of cattle all over, and tents put up, and beautiful melas held, and Ferris wheels you can see all over the place. So this is quite a sight, and lots of foreigners throng this place to have a look at this fair. Yeah. So this is interesting. So we have various competitions like the biggest mustache and the grandest beard, and so people parade their mustaches and beards and the whiskers during this mela, and they win lots of prizes and goodies for this. So this is part of that fair. Yes, this is very interesting. So Pushkar is also known for its rose cultivation. Not many people know, but Pushkar is well known around the world for its rose cultivation, and roses from here are sent to faraway places. And in fact, most of the chadars and the rose donations which are done at the neighboring Ajmer's Khwaja Sahib's Dargah are sourced from Pushkar rose gardens. So that's another sign of communal amity. So, yeah, so, and yes, how could I miss this? So, this has to be very interesting since I have a sweet tooth. So, I wanted you to have a look at this very, very famous sweet delicacy of Pushkar. It's called the Malpua. I can't stop at one, by the way, and I'm sure most of you will not stop at one. And it's it's an experience to be savored. So whenever you go to Pushkar, please go to the Malpua stores opposite the Gau Ghat. That's my tip to you. They are just out of this world. Yes, and then now, this is interesting. So from Pushkar, we have come to the end of this trip to Pushkar. Now we move to the next stop, which is Vrindavan. Yeah, so synonymous with Krishna. So here we go to Vrindavan, and when we go to Vrindavan, so the first image that comes to our mind is that of Sri Banke Bihari ji, right? So let's have a look at that beautiful uh, picture of Sri Banke Bihari ji. Yeah. Okay, so this, my friends, is the famous Banke Bihari ji's idol in the Banke Bihari temple in Vrindavan. And by the way, it's called Banke Bihari because it's Banke and it's Bihari. So Banke actually means bent at three places. So the traditional the image of Krishna bent at three places. He's bent at the knee. He's bent at the waist, and the third bent is on the neck. He's looking sideways. Not this image, but the other image of. It's called the Tribhang avatar or the Tribhang image, where he's bent at three places, and this is that famous idol of Banke Bihari ji. And by the way, the Pandits at the Banke Bihari temple keep closing and opening the doors of this temple, because it is said that his eyes, his celestial eyes, have such a hold over the devotees that many of them just swoon and faint at the, when they go into raptures of devotion. So they keep opening and closing these, जिसको कहते हैं ना पट खोलना और बंद करना, they keep doing that very often in the temple. Yeah, and then we will go to the other person who's responsible for making this temple. Yes, let's have this. So this is a beautiful miniature painting where we can see Swami Haridas ji. So Swami Haridas ji is sitting under this beautiful tree, So this image I've taken from Wikipedia, and I wanted to show the relevance of Swami Haridas ji. So he was a very famous 16th century Bhakti saint and an ardent devotee of Krishna Radha. And here in this miniature painting, he's shown teaching Dhrupad and other forms of classical singing to Tansen. So here is Tansen learning Dhrupad and other forms of classical singing from Swami Haridas ji. And there, gentlemen and ladies, is Akbar, who's looking onto this Jugalbandi happening over here. So, Swami Haridas ji is the guru of Tansen, and he's actually responsible for establishing the Banke Bihari temple, because when he was staying in Nidhi 1. So you must know that Banke Bihari ji materialized out of thin air at a place called Nidhi 1 in Vrindavan, as the legend goes, when Swami Haridas ji was chanting his bhajans and singing praises to the Lord. So Radha and Krishna, they fused into one and appeared as a single black dark skinned image of Krishna. So that image was originally, it materialized in Nidhi 1. And Nidhi 1, if those who of you have been to Vrindavan, is that place where these it's a grove of trees, and there it is said that Krishna used to do Leela with Radha, and that's where the statue materialized, and that's where originally Haridas ji, Swami Haridas ji, used to stay. And the current spot is where this statue was moved in the 16th century, and later on a temple was built in 1864 over there. So Swami Haridas ji is doling out lessons to Tansen over here in this beautiful miniature. And as you can see, so it's very important to note that Krishna ji is also known as Kunj Bihari ji. So Kunj Bihari, as you can, when you decipher it, it means Kunj means grove, and Bihari is somebody who enjoys. So somebody who enjoys in a grove of trees is the one who's Lord Krishna, and that's how Swami Haridas ji used to revere Lord Krishna, and it's quite interesting. And so now I want you to have a look at the temple of the deity, and also the temple of Banke Bihari. Yeah. So here it goes, right? So that is the entrance of Banke Bihari ji temple. Beautiful entrance, lots of artwork and intricate work, and so this is one of the entrances of the temple, and that's another view of one of the minor entrances. And there, dear friends, is how the deity looks like. So it's clicked from afar, but you can have a feel of this. So this is the darshan of Banke Bihari ji at Vrindavan. And I just clicked this snap because I wanted you to have a look at the kind of work which is done on the walls. And this is another closer view. This is the closer view of one of the Shringars of Banke Bihari ji. And so the Shringars or the decorations of the idol keep changing depending on the time of the day. And this is one of the Shringars, or the ornamentation and the decoration on the thing. Yeah. So this is another view of the entire facade of the Banke Bihari temple. This is how it looks like, and it's a beautiful combination of Bangladar roof at the top and the Rajput and other Mughal architecture. It's a beautiful khichdi, an amalgamation of all styles. Yeah. Now I would like you to have a look at certain other things I noticed. So beautiful Havelis, and so what used to happen is that merchants and seths from across the country used to have their dharamshalas and lodgings over here whenever they used to come for the pilgrimage, and they used to stay in these lovely mansions and dharamshalas and havelis. So look at the beautiful work on the one of the havelis near the temple. Look at that. How gorgeous is this? So I thought that one should also have a look at the nearby architecture just to have a clearer view of things. Yeah. So now we move to another gorgeous jewel. It is the Rangji temple at Vrindavan. So Rangji temple, just like the Rangji temple at Pushkar, which we saw a little while back, also it is symbolic of Vishnu and the avatar Krishna. So what is interesting about this Rangji temple of Vrindavan is this. So I'll tell you. So there was this very ardent Krishna devotee from Tamil Nadu. There was this female saint, one of the very few female saints of Tamil Nadu, called Andal or Goda. So Andal was such a Krishna Bhakt, and such was a devotion that her only aim in life was to sing bhajans for Krishna, and she used to pine for a union with the beautiful Lord, and she used to imagine being one day wedded to the Lord, and that was her only aim in life. And this temple in Vrindavan, the Rangji temple of Vrindavan, was constructed, and the central deity is obviously Krishna, Ranganath Swami, and next to Ranganath Swami, where the consort's place is, there Andal, the Tamil saint Andal, is next to, on the right hand side of the Lord. So this is the only temple perhaps in India where, at least in Vrindavan, North India, where Andal is there next to the Lord. The famous Tamil saint Andal or Goda is there next to the Lord. And so let's just have a look inside. Yeah. So this is how that entrance to the Rangji temple in Vrindavan looks like, and we'll just have a look. This is when we enter into the courtyard. There is this giant dhwaj, that flag staff, and that pavilion with those pillars. Beyond that is the Garbhagriha, or the Sanctum Sanctorum, the main place where the deity is placed. So, and these are the various imagery and iconography, absolutely typical of South India over here. So, when you are here in Rangji temple in Vrindavan, you actually do not feel you're in North India. Everything, all the imagery, the architectural style, the gopurams, everything is so redolent of the South Indian architecture. It's absolutely beautiful. So these are some other pictures of the temple complex. So black and white marble alternating with each other, and these kind of artwork is there all around in the Rangji temple. And yeah, and it is a huge, gigantic South Indian temple in the heart of Vrindavan in North India, and this is the beautifully carved pillars with all sorts of iconography from Hindu scriptures. And so that, my friends, is the Sanctum Sanctorum. And so as it's written in Hindi, Shri Goda Devi, Shri Ramannar Bhagwan, Shri Garudji. So here Krishna ji is called Shri Rangmannar Bhagwan, and Goda Devi is Andal, the famous Bhakti saint from Tamil Nadu. So she is placed on the right hand side of this, and I was not allowed to go beyond this, so I don't have a closer picture. So this is what it looks like. And huge, these long corridors all around the building, and it's quite a sight. Yeah. So now we have come to the third stop in Vrindavan. This is our third and the final stop, and this is the ISKCON temple. We are going into the ISKCON temple, which was established in 1977. And yeah, So we will go into that, and we'll have a closer look. Yeah. Okay, before that, I wanted to tell you that this Rangji temple, I forgot to tell you that it was built in 1851, and uh, Swamiji Rangadeshik ji, Sri Rangadeshik ji was the one who was responsible for establishing in 1851. And now we will proceed to ISKCON temple. Okay. Okay, so ISKCON temple is a modern architecture, but it borrows heavily from the the glory days of uh, architectural style. And this is the front view, a very sweeping view that I could capture of this building complex. So, part of it is built in white marble, and the other part, the the temple building, which is looking, which is beyond this, is made up of brick and mortar. So this is our beautiful ISKCON temple. Okay, so here let me just tell you that ISKCON is International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and Swami Srila Prabhupada established it in the 60s, I think 1966, and he was a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu devotee, and some people even say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation was Srila Prabhupada. Just let us go into the history and just find out who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a very famous bhakti saint from Bengal, and in 16th century he was a Vaishnav, he was a Gaudiya Vaishnav saint from Bengal, and I want to tell you that Gaudiya. So Gaudiya comes from a place called Gaur. So Gaur is actually a place. It's a town neighboring Bangladesh. It's in the Malda district of Bengal, and Gaur was actually the capital of medieval Bengali dynasties, the Palas and the Senas, and so that region. So Vaishnavism, which is preached in that region, Malda, Rajshahi of Bangladesh, that area is called Gaur, and Gaudiya Vaishnavism is the sect which grew out of that place, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the chief exponent of that Vaishnav sect. And as of now, in Mayapur near Calcutta is where the main center of ISKCON and Gaudiya Vaishnavism is currently. And this ISKCON Vrindavan is one of the high points of ISKCON architecture and spirituality in the world. And let's just have a look at that. So this is that beautiful ISKCON temple made in 1977, and it's quite a gorgeous place. You must pay a visit there whenever you are in that place next. And yeah, how beautiful this image is. This is the image of Radha and Krishna from ISKCON temple in Vrindavan, and yeah, Radha is absolutely fair and Krishna is dark. So remember that famous song that Radha kyun gori main kyun kala, and Yashomati Maiya se bole Nandlala, Radha kyun gori main kyun kala. And so we'll come later on that there's a very famous story which goes like this, that Krishna is complaining to Yashoda, his mother, that Radha itni gori kyun hai, why is she so fair and I am so dark, main itna kala kyun. So he's like a little child who's crying in front of the mother. So Yashoda हंस के कहती है, she smiles and laughs at him, and she says, तो क्या हुआ, you go and on the Holi you can color her and her fair color will go away when you put color on her. So she just laughs at him, and so the legend goes that he actually goes to Barsana. So Barsana is this town near Vrindavan. So Radha used to stay in Barsana. So she goes, so Krishna goes to Barsana and colors her, and Radha gets very furious. Oh my God, why did he have to color me, and my complexion is lost, and she gets angry. And with other gopis, she uses she starts caning all these all Krishna and his friends. She started caning them, And from there came the concept of Barsane ki Holi, where even till today, where women beat up men with lathis and canes when they go to color them, and so it's a very famous story, and how the culture is intertwined and very closely related to the legends and the of the past. So it's a beautiful example of that. So another view of Krishna Radha from the ISKCON temple. I think one of the most beautiful representations of Radha Krishna you can see at ISKCON temples. Very, very, very infectious. It's like magnetic. You just get lost in the bhakti over there. Yeah. By the way, Janmashtami and Holi are the two popular festivals of this region, Mathura, Vrindavan. And Janmashtami, we just had Janmashtami few days back, and Holi, of course, is a big festival. So the indigenous culture of a place is reflected by the festivals, the food, and the culture. So just like the Camel Festival and Kartik Purnima Snan were local culture of Pushkar, Holi and Janmashtami are indigenous culture of Vrindavan and Mathura. So we'll just have a look at how it looks like. So look at this. Look at this Barsane ki Holi, where lots of people are holding lat, and the lot of Holi is happening, and it's quite a riot of color. It's beautiful. Anyone who has to see life must go there once at least. It's full of life. And this is an image of Holi happening inside the Banke Bihari temple. Lots of color of all, and hundreds of people are playing Holi with each other. So Holi is something which is synonymous with the region of Braj, and of which Mathura and Vrindavan are an integral part of. And yeah, so now is the time for us to move to our last stop, Mathura. So Mathura is where the beautiful Lord Krishna was born, and we are going to first go to the Dwarkadhish temple, where he is revered as the king of Dwarka. Because after Mathura, the legend says that Krishna migrated to Dwarka, and there he stayed till the end. So Dwarkadhish temple is going to be our first stop in Mathura, and so here we go. And when we go to Dwarkadhish temple, I would also like you to have a look at a couple of marketplaces and how the gullies and kuchas of Mathura look like. So let us just have a look over there. Yeah. Yeah, so this is how, so Mathura is like steeped in history, hundreds of years of architecture, and the Havelis and the Jharokas, and so I was like on the road going towards the Dwarkadhish temple, and I wanted to capture Havelis and Kuchas just to give you a flavor of the local architecture. So you have these lovely dharamshalas and makeshift dharamshalas and temples, and all of them have this rich decoration at the facade, and most of them are in sandstone, and quite a beautiful sight. Okay, friends, this is the famous Dwarkadhish temple. As you can see, Rajadhiraj Shri Dwarkadhish Mandir, clearly written in Hindi over there. And so it's a beautiful Rajput and Mughal architecture amalgamation over here. And what is interesting is that here Radha Krishna are there as a deity, and they are installed over there. And Dwarkadhish temple was built by Seth Gokul Das Parik, who was the treasurer of the Sindhya Maharaja, and it was built in 1814. So at that time, the Sindhya Maharaja was Shriman Daulat Rao Sindhya, and Dwarkadhish, as the name suggests, means God or the king of Dwarka, because he shifted to Mathura. He shifted to Dwarka from Mathura ultimately, and let's just have a look. And these are some havelis and richly decorated doorways near the temple. Yeah, this is a very famous ghat over there, and it is said that after killing Kans, Krishna ji came and rested here on the banks of the Jamna, or the Yamuna as they say now. So this is one of the ghats. As you can clearly see, it's written Vishram Ghat. On that semicircular arch, if you can see, it's written Tirthrad Vishram Ghat. So Vishram, so it's like कृष्ण जी ने यहाँ पे विश्राम लिया कंस को मारने के बाद. सो यू नो कंस वॉज हिज मॉन्स्टर्स मेटर्नल अंकल एंड कृष्ण किल्ड हिम बिकॉज ऑफ द cruelty that he showed to Devki and Vasudev, who were the parents of Krishna. So Devki and Vasudev were imprisoned by this terrible king Kans, and Krishna was born in a jail in Mathura. We are going to shortly go to the Mathura Krishna Janmabhoomi temple also, and that is where the Krishna was born, and at this ghat is where he came and rested after killing Kans. And this is the Dwarkadhish temple, how it looks like from inside. So there, friends, in the distance is the idol of Dwarkadhish. And these are some of the Havelis. This is one of the beautiful entrances of a Haveli next to the temple. So I thought that it makes sense for, you to have a look at this also. Another beautiful temple over here. And this is another side of old Mathura, where beautiful Jalidar Kam you can see on top. People, you can imagine hundreds of years ago, people would be standing here on the balcony and looking down on the market down below. So this is something which is this is another angle of the facade of the Dwarkadhish temple. There's another very famous landmark over there in Mathura, and it's very near to the Vishram Ghat. This is the Vishram Ghat. So now we go to now we will move to our final destination, the Krishna Janmabhoomi temple. Yeah. Okay, so this is the Krishna Janmabhoomi temple, as you can see, and by the way, it is of recent origins. This thing got this structure got completed in early 80s, around 1982, and the finishing touches and all the money was spent by the Birlas and the Dalmias, and Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya played an instrumental role in getting these people to finance the temple. Originally in the 17th century, Raja Veer Singh Bundela of Orchha built a temple at this place. This is another view of the Krishna Janmabhoomi temple, as you can see. And so Raja Veer Singh Bundela of Orchha built the temple during the Jahangir's reign in 17th century. And so later on, the temple got broken, and then it again constructed, then again broken, and all of that. So finally, this structure came shape. It acquired shape in 1982, and that's where this ends. Yeah. So I hope you love this trip through the three temple towns of Pushkar, Vrindavan and Mathura, and it was such a pleasure to bring you this talk, and I hope all of you are doing well, and just stay strong. This too shall pass. We are doing as best as we can to pull through this phase, and I'm so glad, I'm so happy that I'm doing this, because it's one of my ways, one of my littlest of ways in contributing to everyone's happiness and joy, because it gives me a lot of happiness and joy doing this. So thank you very much, and see you again very soon. Bye bye. If you have any questions, please do put in. I'll answer them quickly. Thank you.